Hello and welcome to my channel, where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. We are going to do a New Horizons reading for the sign of Taurus. So what we're going to look at is where you currently stand, what it is that you're walking away from, what you're moving into in the future, as well as some of your hopes and fears that you are experiencing in this transition. So let's take a look at your cards and see where it is that you stand currently. All right, Taurus. So it looks like you are in a space of really deciding to actually believe in the dreams that you've had for so long. And I believe that what you're trying to do is surround yourself with people who are going to be supportive of that. I also feel like you're shifting your mindset from a belief that in order to accomplish your dreams, you have to compete and beat out all these different individuals and prove yourself in order to get that. But I think what you're shifting from this kind of like rat race competitive thing is to a model of cooperation. So what you're doing is you are trying to find people who just naturally are attracted to you because of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And I feel like you are going to give yourself some justice because maybe in the past you weren't in situations where people were contributing fairly to whatever your goals and projects were. And so now what you're doing is you've just decided that you're going to give yourself some justice by actually weeding through some of the, stuff that's being presented to you, different ideas and different proposals from different people. And you're going to see what's actually makes sense and what you can balance out with what your dreams are. That way you find people who are going to contribute fairly. And I feel like you're trying to connect beyond just the logical mind also. So while you're giving yourself some justice, and trying to certainly use logic to weed through some of these things, I feel like you're trying to connect with people on a heart level. Like that's what it's all about for you right now. And I don't even think it's about like being naive and gullible, but it's really about doing what you love, believing in what you love, really putting the work in to make that actually happen. And by naturally doing that, just knowing that you're going to attract the help that you need, the funds that you need, the people that you need that are going to help you make this happen. So let's see what it is that you're walking away from that has you at this place currently. All right, Taurus, I feel like, with this Magician card and some of these other Oracle cards that popped up, you're walking away from trying to manifest your dreams without being fully grounded and knowing what it is that what really has value to you. All right, I feel like you had dreams and you had these ideas of what you wanted to do, but maybe it was kind of like, a little willy-nilly because you didn't have it grounded in the reality of what you could bring forth with your surrounding circumstances, with the type of support that you had. I feel like whenever you had these ideas and you kind of put them out there, you may have attracted some type of like predatory behavior of people who were coming in and trying to attach to you, who really didn't bring anything to the table. They really couldn't help you. They really didn't know what they could contribute. But because you had the idea, you had the golden ticket, you had all these people that were flocking to you and trying to be, kind of hangers on. And what ended up happening was that they would cause your efforts to be kind of thwarted. And you just couldn't see these dreams become reality. It's almost like children. It's like you were trying to birth out these ideas. And what would end up happening is that it's like they weren't protected. You had no way to protect them because the people that you were depending on to help you with this and to serve as that protection, they were not there to serve and protect. They were there to take and go away with. So I feel like you've come to that realization that maybe you had a wrong criteria for selecting people to help you out with these projects or ideas. I feel like this could be a business that you're trying to kick off the ground. But whatever it is, I feel like you're tired of that, and you have a new criteria for selecting those people that you work with. Before, it may have been very intellectually based off of, who had the most knowledge, who had the most this, who could talk a good game and make it seem like they had something to offer, but at the heart level, they really weren't connected. And because that was not there, it didn't matter if they had all the information and knowledge in the world. If your heart's not there, and this is not your passion, and this is not your drive like it's mine, then you have nothing to offer. And furthermore, you're going to cause me to not create what it is that I'm trying to create and not see this through, because your energy is off and you have different desires. So, or just different motives for it as well. So I feel like that's what you're leaving behind. All right. So let's see what your fears are as you move into the future. All right, Taurus. So it looks like some of your fears are that you have not really ended the cycle, and that you will repeat this, that you're going to pull in the same kind of people, maybe different faces, but it's going to be the same type of outcome. So, you're having to take a step forward. This is a whole new beginning. You're starting over from scratch. I feel like in your past situations, you had a lot of control over it. And I also feel like you had people that were working with you who were also, I would say kind of a little bit control freakish, but, even if they weren't that, I feel like they came into the situation in such a way that it allowed you to be the control person that was, micromanaging. However, I feel like that was causing your efforts and things that you were trying to bring forward to kind of die. Like, it couldn't get off the ground because it was just too many hands trying to control every little aspect of it. And I feel this newfound direction that you're taking and you're trying to get on a heart level, one of your fears is that you're not going to be able to beat out the competition because, in your past efforts, I feel like you noticed that, a lot of your competition, they're very highly coordinated and they have this whole system in place. And the territory that you're moving into is one that's not so based on that. It's based off of what comes across as being right intuitively. What do you get that hunch about? And that's a very different thing. I feel like you're afraid about, you might have some debts that you're throughout this. Maybe partnerships, you've got some emotional, psychological baggage with that. You're having to cut from situations that were not really going to work out. They weren't well suited for what it is that you were trying to do, even though you tried to force it. And so there's some fear of having to get rid of that and the inherent backlash that just comes with that. So let's take a look at what your fears are, or actually we just looked at your fears. Let's take a look at what your hopes are as you move forward. All right, Taurus, this moon card in reverse, I feel like your hope is that you're able to release this vision, this very innovative, huge vision that you have, that you can release it. Because I feel like you may have been holding on to this. All the things that you did before, I feel like they were a step in this direction, but it wasn't like this. Like, there's this one thing that you're holding on to that you just didn't have the courage to love and to put out there because you went through. I feel like you're testing the waters and taking, small projects, trying to feel people out to see how they were going to fall in alignment or not fall in alignment with you as far as your work style. And I feel like you were just sorely disappointed, like it just wasn't working. And I think that that was actually exercising a lot of wisdom. It showed that if you can't trust people with these smaller things, even if they think it's huge and they think it's just like the absolute thing that you ever would do, if they can't, I'm hearing like I feel like people just kind of trashed your stuff. And that goes from a different level of like making an attempt to try and just failing because you're just able to pull it off the ground. But I feel like you had people that were coming in and like just sabotaging your stuff. And I feel like you knew that at some level, and it was because they did not have the same intentions that you did, and they were not connected with you at a heart level. I feel like there was a lot of politics going on at whatever level this was, and it was causing people to say that they were a person, but they weren't. They had other motives. And, I feel like you, looking at these cards, I feel like you knew that. And that's why you feel like this justice that you're giving yourself now, because it was fair what you were dealing with before, is by taking this new direction and connecting at a heart level. And so your hope is that you can release this huge vision. Like, you have this big picture idea of something to do. and you had a lot of distractions that was just really keeping you from focusing on that. So, you may have kind of like trying to buy time that you could get to really do that. And, I feel like this dream you have is like your home space. This is the place where you feel the most content in your place. Like, you feel like this is what you are. You are here to do this. It's not the only thing in your life. It is a huge, thing that you want to do. And you're hoping that you have the courage to do so, because you have a lot of situations around you that you're having to release so that you can move into that. So I see you being optimistic that you can make that happen. And this hidden dream that you have, this hidden passion that you knew better than to kind of release to the wolves because they've been torn apart. And I know I've been saying, by sticking up with be the hunter, not the hunted. Like, you literally have people preying on you, like knowing that you had something, even if they didn't know what it was. They were just totally around you and contribute without really bringing anything to the table, but saying that they had something to contribute because they were trying to get whatever it was that they could sense that you were holding on to. They just wanted to be there for that without actually having to contribute to it in a fair and just way, other than just to eat the fruit. This reminds me of a reading I did a while back. It was for cancers, and it was The Little Red Hen. If you're not familiar with The Little Red Hen, it's a children's fairy tale. I Google it. It's actually really good. I feel like that's very appropriate for this. Except in this case, I don't think that it's like people were not helping. Just what they were doing was not actually helping you bake the bread. Or the Little Red Hen, if you know the story, people were coming and said they were good. They just couldn't. They always had these excuses why they couldn't contribute, why they couldn't do the work, but they all wanted to eat. I feel the thing that was messing you up was that you had to eat the bread, and they were bringing ingredients for running, for cookies, and for like offering to do stuff that didn't even really relate to what it was to do, because they didn't know how to bake bread. They just knew that the bread was good, and so basically taking cues off of you and whatever it was that you looked like you need to do, trying to get at that to say that they could provide it, but it was happening not because they think that, I feel like it wasn't even the only loaf of bread that they had access to. It was just one loaf of bread that was going to be particularly delicious, and when they were done with that and there was no more left, they could go get another loaf of bread. So it wasn't about being a passion or dream, it was just a thing. When for you, this is your apex thing. Like, it was like the thing that was so important to you, or at least that's the way you put on, because you were testing people to see how they would actually show up. So let's take a look at what's actually coming on the horizon. I see yourself organizing for success, really taking everything that you learned, all the intel that you gathered through these early stages of this, and putting it to use so that you can, stay the course. I feel like you've mastered a lot of some of the aspects of yourself that you felt like you might have needed a little work on. So moving forward, you can allow this inspiration that you have to come forth into the light of day. I feel like you've been enlightened about a lot of things. I feel like you've been enlightened about your style, your work style. You've been enlightened about your relationships with others and how you collaborate and work with others. And because of that, now you know when, where, why, how you need to move. And I see you doing that on this horizon. And I feel like the outcome of that is, with this Wheel of Fortune in the upright, I feel like it could go either way, but you're strongly leading towards success. More success than you've seen in the past, because you've figured out how to weed out what the problems were and how to, recalibrate your approach so that you can give yourself the justice that you deserve as far as making your dreams a reality. All right, Taurus, that is what I have for you. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for joining me on this channel where we may be dazed, but we are not confused. Until the next video, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.